You know, I realised with my ADHD, I actually am not entirely sure I could count to 100.
Without getting distracted?
Yeah, without getting distracted, without getting bored. I would actually rather die than be bored. It's just...
I think ADHD is only if the meaning is novelty.
If life has the meaning that you kind of decide for yourself, you make the choice.
Yeah.
You don't want to live in bad faith. You want to live a fulfilling life in whichever way you want it to be.
Yeah.
And I would maybe argue, and tell me if you disagree, that is essentially trying to live a life that doesn't bore you. You know, a life that you find fulfilling. Like, I'd say boredom is the act of feel like emptiness, the kind of sense of this isn't worth anything. You know what I mean?
The famous line that you're right, should we all commit suicide, but it's the imagine Sisyphus happy.
Yes.
Which is the classic, right? Like, we imagine the metaphor of Sisyphus to be the drudgery of putting the boulder up and down a hill every day.
Yeah.
Where it's saying, but you make the choice about how you experience the world. You can experience that as a drudgery that you hate. Or you can experience it as, imagine Sisyphus happy. Like, you could be looking at blades of grass, you could be looking at rocks, you could be looking at the boulder, you can find the joy and the interest and the excitement in every day. And that's what I think, trying to find meaning. Or you create your own meaning.
Yeah, exactly.
Right,
but then, how do we define novelty? Like, how do we say that? Surely, if you're finding your own meaning, you're finding your own novel meaning.
I mean, that's a very ADHD perspective. I'm not, and I agree with you, but I think there's a certain, like, okay, but what about if I have the same routine every day, that I really enjoy. I enjoy lifting weights in the morning, right? And that is something that's like a meditation or whatever it is, right? And then I enjoy that. So it's not novel. I look forward to the fact that it's not novel. Yeah, I'm just saying, sometimes when I have energy, and this is ADHD, right? I'm definitely a novelty seeker. I love that. I want new things. I want novelty. I want exciting experiences. Why I throw myself on stage and doing stupid shit.
Same reason why I love cocaine.
Yeah, exactly. Also, my favourite of the drugs. For that reason, probably.
Doesn't work for some people. I have no idea why. It works really well. I say it works
really
too
like
well.
that. People who like talking a lot. I don't have ADHD. I am neurodivergent in other ways, but I know I don't have ADHD, so I sometimes crave routine, and because I have a limited amount of energy per day, so I'm like, I want to direct that energy into the areas of my life or the times of my day when I need it.
For me, decision fatigue is a real thing. It's it's like I like novelty, but I do need structure to a degree. That's the reason why I write lists all the time.
Yeah.
I've got morning routines. I've got lists for to-dos, this, that, and the other, and it's because I don't want to have that wake up in the morning and then have to make decisions. I.e., okay, am I going to work out? If I'm going to work out, what am I going to do? I need to have that pre-decided. So it's like, oh no, I don't have to think when I get up. I get up, I do this. That's it. Just kind of. Because again, you've got the limited amount of energy. I don't want to expend it on unnecessary, frivolous things. It's like that whole Steve Jobs thing. Like, he dresses like a cartoon character, or at least he did. Dresses like a cartoon character, always same turtleneck, same trousers, because he doesn't have to decide what to wear that day. He's got many other decisions. The outfit doesn't have to be one of them.
So there's a system, the system is the freedom.
Well, I mean, that's what's becoming an adult, though. It's like trying to learn how to make these kind of structures for yourself. And the problem is with school is that the school does it for you for the longest time, and then suddenly it doesn't.
Unless you stay there forever.
You've worked it out, bro.
But I get
this is an illegal
I
move,
know. Right? I love this structure to the point where teachers all the summer break's coming, 6, 7, 8 weeks off, blah 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 blah. And it's taken me this long to realise I hate the summer break. The lack of routine.
Oh, really?
Just throws me, or at least throws me into a loop, because I'm like, I don't have all my structures and have my things, or what do I do? Like today, I could do nothing. But then half of the day, I'm like, I've done nothing. I need something, but I also don't want to do something. So
that's why you need to create the structures.
Yeah, that's why I need the structures.
Welcome, people. All 7, 8, maybe even 9 of you now listening to this. Maybe even just 2. But if there's only 2 of you, then I love you both, and we should hang out sometime. This is welcome to the Harlequin Room, a creative advice podcast for the dreamers, the doers, the wannabes, the people with aspirations and a day job. It's for those of you who are feeling either late, behind, or like you didn't get the memo, or for people who are just in the creative sphere and would like something akin to an older brother, or I don't know, some people who maybe know what they're talking about, or maybe you just want to hear people who are going through the same stuff as you, so you don't feel so alone. That's what this podcast is. It's a safe space. Today, I'm joined by the very wonderful Tim Ford. Tim, I'm going to let you introduce yourself. How would you describe yourself? Because if not, I will do it for you.
Okay,
it's very complimentary.
I'll do that. So if you're an older brother figure, I guess I can be a father figure, considering I'm far older. Well, not your father, but these people's. So my background is professionally I work as a teacher, but I know Ira from the comedy circuit. Doing stand-up comedy for about 2 years in Copenhagen now. Improv comedy for about 5. And I recently opened with a business partner or two, Nørrebro Comedy Cellar. So we are putting on comedy in Nørrebro.
And it's an absolute vibe. If you're seeing this, you live in Copenhagen, you need to check it out. It's, every weekend, right, you've got shows. And sometimes it's stand-up, sometimes it's improv.
Yeah. And sometimes we mix those things together and do comedy shows. Yeah.
Oh, nice. I've been down to them, they've been really fun. There was a roast battle recently. I don't want this to come across as offensive anyway, but I was very pleasantly surprised by the quality of the jokes that I was hearing written. Because it's interesting, because when you see like roast battles, a lot of the time you recognise who the person is on stage.
Yeah.
But this kind of had that vibe of almost like an actual rap battle, where it's a writing competition. That's all that rap battles and roast battles and all this lot are. It's how do you structure a premise, in this case an insult, in a way that is unique, well packaged, and kind of like creative. You know, it's the best roast, the best raps, all that lot is when it's clever, it's wordplay, it's this, that, and the other. At least my favourite are. Although you will get these kind of audience favourites of like, oh, he called him a paedophile.
I mean, there is that. I mean, so this is what I enjoy in the writing competitions, right? I think like if someone has a premise that goes through all of they do 7 jokes each, right, in the format we're doing. But if they have a premise that has a through line, or that heightens, that builds up, ordering those things into like that, ending at the peak, the right moment is another.
When they've created that kind of world, that kind of, I like Liam. Liam Duffy, his Instagram is Duffy When Wet, and he was just hilarious. So funny, because he came in that trench coat, and he had this huge suppository, and he had the court, like, was he like a detective?
Law and Order.
He had the little sound machine every time he said something. It was just hilarious. And then I would say Felix Bakker, who he was going against, who again, I think his Instagram is Felix Bakker Comedy or Comedian on Instagram. So also very funny. He held his own really well because Liam's was creative, funny, out there, and Felix still managed to kind of play along. And I wouldn't say he tanked his own set, but he started playing the straight man in the kind of made it.
At some point, you just got to accept this battle is lost. This is too good, and I see where he's going. I'm like, all right, well then the show is most important at this point.
Exactly,
right?
And he had that mentality, and I respect that. He let himself lose for the sake of this being a better show, and that is. He threw himself in the grenade, you know. The one who's willing to do that, he's a real hero. Even
I think he tried to throw the grenade back first time. I was like, fuck, it just keeps coming. I just gotta lie on this grenade at this point. Liam's too good, but yeah, it's a fun set of shows.
It really, really was. I know that you do improv and stand up, but take us through your journey. What got you as a teacher with
2 degrees. 3 actually. Well, 3. 2 degrees, but one is.
That's a triangle.
I did. Thank you. Well, I'm also a maths teacher. I'm aware. So I did an undergraduate degree in biology. Then I became a teacher, and then I did a master's in history and philosophy of science.
Nice.
Because it was fun, my kind of fun. I'm a little bit geeky about that.
I don't want to say this in a rude way, but was it also free back then?
It was not free, no.
It was not?
No. I'm not that old.
All the depths there.
Yeah. I'm not that old. That one I actually self-funded. Anyway, but
well done.
I worked at the same time.
Yeah.
I have some debt, but it's not because of that.
I just left the country entirely, you know.
That's fair enough.
There are ways to get around it, you know, and one of those is leave.
Yeah, fraud. Crime is one way. But yeah, so my comedic journey started, so I've been living in Denmark for 15 years. It was in and around COVID. I split up with the mother of my children. who is Danish. We're still on good terms. We co-parent and everything's going great.
Well done. That's not easy to
not
land in
always
that area, but
easy
it's
to do.
nice when it does happen.
I'll say, in case she's like, it helps that she's a very good human being as well, and that we want to make it work. So we're there. But it was in and around that time that I was like, okay, COVID was finishing. I wanted to do something for myself. And the hardest question in therapy, at least the one I found hardest to answer, is what do you want? Like for you, was it career? Was it what is it? What it was actually for you?
As a man in his, at the time I'd say early 40s, late 30s?
Yeah, as early 40s.
Yeah, so as a white man in his early 40s, have you ever really thought about what you want? You know?
I mean, I guess. I see what you're doing here. I
apologise. No, but it can genuinely be hard. Like, it's, you know...
I think society tells you, or you take society's messages of what you should be. And I think I listened too hard to that in my early 30s, right?
Would you say living in bad faith, kind of?
Or just, what it takes to be a man in the world, or what it takes to, like, to do things, provider, blah, blah, blah. All these things that I've maybe deconstructed more now. But in and around that, the answer that I came up with is what I really want to do for myself is I wanted to do comedy. I've always wanted to do comedy ever since I was a kid. My family is very comedic. My dad is very funny, very into Monty Python and other things. So it's kind of been in my family. So it's kind of something I wanted to do, but never really had the, if you like, confidence to do. So I started improv comedy because I was a theatre kid. I used to do improv. Way back, and then I found this place in Copenhagen where you can do improv comedy.
Was that the ICC?
It was the ICC.
Yes.
And then I started doing some levels and found some people and working that way. Honestly, though, I wanted to be a stand-up, but I wasn't brave enough. So I was like, I'll do a couple of improv courses just to kind of like feel it out and give me some stage confidence and just kind of like, so I feel confident on stage. And then it was so much fun that I ended up doing it for a long time before eventually. I
vaguely remember when you first came onto the stand-up scene. It just surprised me that you seemed you put it on that pedestal in terms of, I've done the improv, now I think I'm ready to try stand-up. Like it was something that could scare you, because I'd say you come across as a really personable and really confident person. So when you say like, I think I've managed to get the balls to kind of do this, I was like, in the back of my mind being like, why would someone like you ever be scared to do something like this? You know what I mean? Like it's... I
can answer.
Yeah, please.
It's an absolute facade.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Same with teaching. When I was supposed to, we're like, don't show the fear. Like, so there's, it's like a duck. You heard the duck thing?
No.
Cool. So they look really serene on the surface, but their feet underneath are doing this.
Yeah.
Like, that's the emotional kind of like above this. I may look confident, and I'm very good at looking confident, but I may not be underneath. Like underneath, I might be panicking and worried and like, is this going to work? And that's kind of what I'll end up talking about, is that throwing yourself into a situation where you might be shit is the thing I find very hard. So thank you. I remember this. Right. So what happened was we were at No Stress, which is the night one of the nights that Ira runs 2 years ago.
Every Wednesday at 8 p.m.
Yeah, and I'd come to see a friend who'd done the 6-month comedy course. Went to see him, and then I was like, he'd done the 6-week stand-up course, and I was like, I'd had a few beers if I'm honest, and I was like, I'm going to go up, I'm going to speak to Ira, who's running it. And I remember talking, I was like, hey, how do I get myself on here? And I probably had that conversation with you that you half remember, and you're like, 2 weeks' time, I'll put you on. Yeah. And I know, when I was in my mind, I was like, wow, he sees something in me. And then now I know, as a booker at this time of the year, I'm like, no, just loads of comedians are out of town. It's like, this was a mic on the 28th of December. That was like, he was like, yeah. I was like, in my mind, you'd seen this, like, I'll put him straight on. But I know you were just like, nah, motherfucker, I need to fill some time, you'll do.
I will say, there may have been an element of like, I want to give like some freshness onto the thing. But I do tend to kind of, if it's your absolute first time, I do tend to throw people right on, and that is partly because it helps keep things fresh and all that. Like, I've got quite literally nothing to lose, but it is also intentional because I don't necessarily believe in the whole kind of you throw the child into the water and they'll learn how to swim. But I do believe that if you think about it too much, you'll kind of talk yourself out of it.
Yeah.
It's a bit like if you go bungee jumping or something like that. You can't look down.
Oh, yeah.
Like if you wait too long, that's the quote unquote looking down. That's the what if I bomb? What if this happens? What is it?
Oh yeah, you can talk yourself out of it.
Exactly. Right? So if you don't have the time to do that, it's just hey, I'll put you on next week, 100%. And if you do that, sounds a little bit toxic, but it's a kind of toxic for their own benefit. Is sometimes if people feel kind of put upon in terms of like, they've said that they want to do it, and I said, amazing, I'll put you on next week for the thing. They'll also feel a little bit indebted. They're like, now I have to do it because he's put me on, and they don't necessarily know that they can just say no. Like, they don't have to.
Yeah.
It's like, but the implication, it's like they're not going to say no because of the implication. Yeah. But like, they can actually just say no. But I think it's useful because you just need to do it. It's just one of those things you just need to start. You just need to get up there and try it, because the scariest time you'll ever do comedy is going to be the first time. And then after that, it's going to be, just get better. Just over time, like you will eventually bomb. That is going to happen. And once you do...
It's never happened to me. Yes, it's happened to me.
I've seen it happen to you.
Not even long ago. I mean, maybe tonight.
Could be tonight. You know, if it does happen tonight, I'll splice that into this episode.
If you could just put that in here so you can actually see, like...
You looking sheepish on stage.
Yeah, like...
I'll add some cricket sounds, you know. But yeah, I think it's just leap into it, do it, you know? And how did you feel once you leapt into it and you started doing this stuff?
I mean, the first one was rough. I probably wrote about 15 minutes worth of material that had one joke in it. And then I did 5 of that. And I maybe left the joke out. That's how it felt. But I'd say, going back just slightly, like, the difference between, like, improv is scary. Most people, when you tell them, all right, you don't know you have to make it up as you go along. But you get a lot of respect from the audience for that. They know not everything's going to be a winner, because you're clearly just making up as you go along. Whereas stand-up, you're turning up going, I spent time, I think all of this is funny.
Yeah.
Like, it's more personal, because you're like, and I'm standing up here on my own, no one's going to come save me. We improv you with a team, right? Somebody else will step in with another thing. Yes, you're making it up, but that's my safe space. I'm like, someone will come rescue you. We work as a team. I think this is funny. I'm on my own. Everything in here is written by me, and I've definitely written it and taken loads of time. Even if the comedian comes on and says, I just came up with this, it's a lie.
Yeah,
they almost certainly haven't. They've been working on this for a long time. And then you've put yourself out there in the crucible of an audience, and you're like, no, what I thought was funny was not funny. And sometimes you get lucky, and you're like, oh, one of the things I didn't think was that funny was funny.
That's always surprising when you're like, what, that one, really? Really? Like, really? Out of all this absolute gold I've given you that you've just hated, you like that? Yeah. I think, looking at the time and everything, this is going to be a good time to get a word from our sponsors first. So we're going to have a little word from our sponsors, which we're going to cut to now. This episode is brought to you by Routine. Routine is a new app that allows you to judge other people and yourself in a much more graphical way.
Choose Routine. Compare how much you sleep, how much you eat, how funny you are, how nice you are to other people, all unfavourably.
Routine offers you the opportunity to try and set yourself targets that you know you'll never reach, but what you can do is change your targets every single day to make them even more unachievable, giving you the sense, like this time you're going to do it, even though you never will.
A routine, we believe that failure drives failure. The more failure you can have, the worse you can feel about yourself, in a downward spiral all the way to the bottom.
And remember, the worse you feel about yourself, the more likely you are to give us money. So, if you're really interested, then you should download Routine today. Give us money. Don't get me wrong. Someone once called me toxically competitive, and I don't agree, but sometimes I'll get these little moments like, wow, you're really good. And it's kind of like, oh, okay. Right, there's it's like, oh, is that a threat? And you have to calm yourself down and be like, no. Think about the scene. It's better for the scene.
Yeah, I want this person to be good.
Yeah, so I want you to be good. I don't
Just not better than me.
Yeah, exactly.
Not this fast, anyway. That's the right. I can be like, oh, that person's funny, but they've been doing it longer.
I remember when I absolutely first started comedy. I was living in the Netherlands, and there was this other girl who was on the... Basically, where I lived was this tiny little town in the north of the Netherlands, and there was no English-speaking stand-up comedy. I got it in my mind that I wanted to do stand-up, so I kind of got some friends together, and we started putting on some shows. No idea how this stuff worked. No. We were doing 15-minute spots. We were practicing in front of each other, again, learning from that. We just kind of figuring it out. And there was, looking back on it, she might not have been as good as I thought at the time, but she was undoubtedly funny. Like it was funny. And it was also undoubtedly better than me. And I remember being like, oh, but I really love this. Like, I want to do it. And then she was just like, yeah, but she wants to be a rapper. And I was just like, what? It's like, oh, you're good at this and you don't even want to do it. It feels like a kind of a trope that you'd see in a movie.
Well, but maybe that freedom allowed it. I mean, I'm in the same situation where I really want to make this a big part of my life, right? Like, I don't know if it'll be my full-time job, but I've always wanted to do it my whole life. So
I mean, you're running a club now, so that's kind of a good way to make it.
Yeah, it's the business, though. Like, I'm definitely further ahead in the business side, and that, like, now I actually need to be funny. Like, that has made, again, like, and this is what I was talking about, like, I'm nervous about doing new material. Like, I don't like it. I don't want to do it. Like, I'd write stuff and it's always meh. Like, if you need to go through this crucible of being bad. And when is that going to happen, right? It's that kind of like, and I really hate, like, it's very easy to be like, I'm a bit nervous. This audience seems a bit quiet. I'll do my safe stuff. It's very easy to always fall back on that. It's harder to force yourself to be like, okay, this may not completely work.
I heard a comedian say once before, if you're not bombing, you're probably not taking enough risks. And that little bit of advice has stuck with me for a really long time, because if you don't see failure as a negative, if you don't see it as bombed, so what, like
for growth.
Yeah, it's just a moment for growth. Like, all right, cool, so that didn't work. And I think that very much comes from one, being able to separate your art from your self-esteem, and that would be true whether this is comedy or any type of art. It's like, it's the idea of just like, once you put something out there for the world will judge it. Like, they will judge it. It's now out of your hands, but they're not, as much as it feels like they are, I don't think they're not judging you. Even if this is your expression, this is a part of yourself, they're not judging you because they don't have you as a context. They don't know you as a being. I mean, don't get me wrong, that's how artists become famous, it's like they try and sell the idea of, like, Yayoi Kusama, she Japanese older lady who lived in a mental asylum, and then, like, you tell their story and it makes that art more interesting because you've got the context of you. But that doesn't change the fact that that's just like kind of marketing, that's like a sales side of it. The art itself will always just be that. It is its own entity, and when you can separate yourself from that, it means you can look at it more objectively, and that helps you kind of judge it accordingly, if that makes sense.
It does make sense. I just think the immediacy of stand-up is like, it's like standing next to a painting you've painted that's shit, and somebody going, no, I think that's shit, to your face, because, like, the feedback is so immediate, right? They either laugh or they do not, and you're like,
be so cruel in any other circumstance.
Exactly. Like, you know what I mean? Like, okay, great. Now I'm just going to show you this other painting that, because I think is worse than the one I just showed you. But I've still got 4 minutes to go. So here's another painting I know you won't like. Great. Okay, let's make it now. My third painting also probably won't like that one.
Oh my God.
It's really a callback to the first one you didn't like.
And do you know what the annoying thing is as well? Is that, like, if it were even something like, I don't know, singing or dance, at least people can appreciate it quietly.
Yeah.
Like, you don't, if someone doesn't laugh, that's basically the answer.
Yeah. Like, what I'm not shooting for, like, a polite clap after 5 minutes. Like, well done for doing a comedy. You're like,
that's why I always try and remind people when I'm hosting shows, be like, look, this isn't Netflix. Because when you're watching something online, you can be like, that's really funny. Like, you won't laugh, but you're kind of, you're saying it in your head. But, like, laughter when you're around other people, that's the biological reason why it exists, is to indicate to other people, like, this kind of humour, this kind of like laughter, this is a camaraderie type thing. So if they're not doing that in a very, very specifically kind of group, the situation where you're meant to laugh, it's just kind of like, I think that painting's shit. Yes, I see you.
It's so easy to do that, like, and I see lots of comedians do it, and I don't like doing it. It's that you make a protective comment, which is always like, other people like this, or you have a little self-defense, but you'll lose the irony is you've got to lean harder into the jokes and lean harder into what you're doing, or the pauses, or you've got to ride out the awkwardness, because if you kind of tacitly say, oh, you're right, don't worry, I thought that was rubbish as well, then suddenly you've killed any chance of anything in that set working.
It's kind of like, you've got to have the confidence, kind of, you don't want to become cringy in the sense that you kind of, Oh yeah, no, I thought that was shit. It's like, oh god. So firstly, not only are you doing badly, but you don't even have the backbone to stand up for yourself, and it's like it becomes a bit more.
Why did you come here?
Exactly.
And say this thing you knew was shit.
Yeah, you're intentionally wasting our time. So that's what the. But again, I do think that still helps if you can separate yourself from the piece itself, because then if you can look at it and be like, all right, that didn't actually work, but okay, well we're gonna try it, or I don't know, if you're not vibing with an audience, be like, this isn't going particularly well, is it? But if you can say it with a smile and like kind of look at someone, then they're kind of like, no, this isn't going well, but like, well, you've got me for another 15 minutes, so let's try and turn this thing around.
That's what I had to do at No Stress the other day. That's not at the end, it wasn't 15 minutes. I was like, well, I'm going to do the last of these jokes anyway, because now we're in it.
Yeah, but it's more comfortable to do it that way, because like, acknowledge it. You know, like when there's a bad smell in the room, if you like try and ignore the fact that it's there, it's kind of like, that's almost worse, because it's distracting. It's kind of, is no one going to bring this up? But then when you mention it, people are like, cool, so that is you. Like,
exactly. There's got to be some. I mean, that's the thing you were saying, like, you separate yourself from the art, but I think with the art, with comedy, there's so much of yourself in it that it's that's why it's very, very vulnerable. And I had a show this weekend, and I had someone message me after and was like, hey, I'm so sorry, like, I had 2 hours sleep, I wasn't feeling very good. I'm like, you did great. Like, you were funny. And another person like, I wasn't on my best today, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, no, you did great. And I said the same thing. I'm like, hey, yeah, that first 5, I was just kind of trying it. And they're like, no, you did great. Like, the point is, we're our worst critic.
Exactly. Oh, by far.
By so far.
In a kind of healthy way.
Yeah.
Because I have seen the other way around, where someone is so disconnected from the audience, they'll come off and be like, man, I fucking smashed it. Like, did you just see what I just saw?
Yeah.
Like, are you not aware of just how bad that was shocking. I want to apologize to people as they leave for you, but sure, you smashed it, bro. I mean, I would never actually say that because I'm not mean, but it's kind of there is it's the reason why you should record your sets, because I have done it before where I thought things had gone terribly, and then when I've gone to watch it back later, I've realized, oh, actually, that did better than I realized, or the vice versa. I was like, oh, that seemed to really work, and then watch the tape, but that didn't work as well.
Those two people at the front were laughing really hard, and I'm getting that feedback directly, but the rest of the audience, you know what I mean? You see it from a different perspective.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, going back to, like, you got the advice, Jeff Bond, wonderful, Jefferson Bond.
Jefferson Bond comedy.
Check him out, very good. I've been doing a course with him, but this was, like, very early on. I think he said to me, like in the green room where he does it as Citizen, he was like, do you want to be the best open mic comedian? Right? And you can just go to every open mic, do your best 5 minutes and fucking kill it. But is that the comedian you want to be? Or do you want to be a comedian? Right? Do you want to get to a point where you're getting paid? In which case you're going to have to take some risks in the open mic. That's the point. So you decide, like, you could be the best open mic comedian in Copenhagen if you want.
Yeah.
But that's zero money.
It's zero. Yes and no. I would say that to be the best open mic comedian, you would, like you said, get that 5 minutes that you know works, and then just never take a risk because you always do that same 5 minutes.
Or maybe get a 10 that works.
Exactly, you know what I mean? And, I mean, don't get me wrong, there are some comedians that do just, like, they work out 20 minutes, and then they essentially just tour with that. They just go around, they just do yada yada. It's just the same 20 minutes, but if you live in America or something like that, you can go to enough clubs and places and yada yada yada. However, and I would say that an open mic is arguably harder than your own show, because at an open mic you have all sorts of people, and so the only way to please all sorts of people is to basically do the lowest common denominator. Like, you have to go for the jokes that are the most crowd pleasing. They will be no one's favourite. They will just be the ones that everyone hates least.
Yeah.
You know,
agreed targets.
Yeah, it's like pop music. You know, it's like pop music is never anyone's favourite song, but everyone knows the lyrics and everyone kind of sings along. It's a crowd pleaser type thing. You know, so it's like, if you want to, there's a guy called Jason Rouse who we've had on a couple of times, and he is a big name in America, and I believe he's been a big name here as well. But like, kind of, I think about. Maybe still today he can still fill rooms and well, but he's got a very particular audience in the sense that he can fill rooms. He can, like, he's very crass, but like over the top, really in your face shock kind of humor, and that is a lot of people's. That is not the cup of tea of a lot of people.
No.
So open mics, man, I have seen him get like bombed, like really, really badly.
Yeah.
But he's also the only person I've ever seen almost kill an audience member with laughter.
Yeah.
So there was just one, it was at Proud Mary, I don't know, it actually might have been around Christmas time last year, and he was performing, and there was and this is my point. Not everyone loved him, but this one guy was laughing so hard it triggered an asthma attack.
Okay.
And then he couldn't. He was trying to like put like his thing, but Jason just kept hitting him specifically with jokes. And he was like, oh, and then da-da-da, was like, and then I was like, cunt punching this nun with da-da-da, and this guy was just going,
please God, help me.
But he's just like, but he was really laughing, and it was like it was really, really funny. But that's the thing. It's he's not pleasing everyone.
No.
He's got his audience. He had to take real risks to get to his style of comedy. It's a lot. Like I can appreciate it, but it's like I wouldn't necessarily say it's my cup of tea, but I respect what he's doing because what he's doing is really it's surprisingly difficult.
Yeah. There has to be a base level of craft.
Exactly.
I think we see a lot of comedians, or I've seen a lot of comedians on the circuit, like very new. Like if you're going for that style, being very shocking, but it doesn't have the joke craft. Like the punchline can't just be shock.
It's like going up and just shouting the N-word. You know, it's like you'll get some kind of nervous laugh. Exactly.
So it's harder to deal with these like I mean, we can artistically say that nothing is off limits for comedians, for art, right? But there are definitely some subject areas one needs some skill and intelligence to tackle well.
100%.
And which is why I don't have the level of comedic skill to tackle some subjects well. And so I'm not going to touch them.
Have you ever come across this situation where you're trying to make a joke work and you just can't get it to work, and then what happens is you try everything, you try different angles, you know there's something there that's funny, but you just, for the life, you can't work it out. Put it away for a little while, and then you kind of forget about it. You work on some other stuff, and then after some time, you've just grown as a comedian. You come back, you've got fresh eyes, you're better at the skill, and then you'll look at it and you'll be like, that's what I needed to do. And then you'll be able to...
The concept is there.
Yeah, the concept, and then you get the craft, and then you're like, oh, and then I can do this, and then, or you'll say something about another joke, and you're like, hold on, I had this other joke, and then you'll work it out that way, and then it becomes this whole, and it's so
sometimes
pleasing.
It's just wording, and sometimes it's just rhythm
100%.
as well. Or, oh, it fits nicely here. I don't know if this is a trick. This is a trick that I've, like, sometimes if you put the joke in somebody else's mouth in a story, so you're like, if it's an insult about you, if you're like, oh, and this person said to me, make it up, and then you do the insult, then everyone's laughing because this other random person made this, like, and you're like, fuck, you put it in somebody else's mouth, it's fine.
You should try it. I mean, putting it in your own mouth is always quite difficult and something I've struggled with a lot, but I
since the back operation,
you know, exactly. I'm a bit stiff,
not bendy, not as bendy as I used to be.
But it's Louis C.K. gave that advice actually. I mean, I know he's done other stuff as well. He's still a master of the craft. And he said he has some joke where he said, if I say in a joke, I was on a plane and this businessman said this to so and so, it's like there was no businessman. This was my thought that I had, and no one said it. But it's by kind of you kind of take the idea away from, you take the onus from yourself as a comedian, so people don't think you're the arsehole. They go, oh, well, let's laugh at this arsehole together. And then you can kind of change it around that way, but then you also can play around, like, you know, it's theatre. It's as much as it is just a single person on stage with a mic and all that kind of stuff. It is still.
Oh, it is theatre.
It's storytelling. It's
I think that's like based out of. I mean, we had a off-camera conversation. I think one of the other things I'm struggling with at the moment, maybe you're further down the road than me, is trying
monogamy. Sorry, what?
Also monogamy. Comedic monogamy.
Yes.
No, what I'm struggling with is trying to find that like authentic voice. Like there are comedians on the scene that I just like, wow. Like, now I'm sure this isn't true, but to me they're just like, they can just come up with new stuff all the time because they've got their characters set up, and you're just imagining, oh my goodness, I can't wait to see what, and let's name some people, Ray Sampson is going to do next in this thing. Like his style is so good.
Do you remember Nuti Pelekala?
No.
He's a Finnish guy, but he lives in Norway, and he was around here for a while, and he's very kind of absurd, very kind of like I find it difficult to explain him as a person. He's a bit of an enigma, but because of that, he was just hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. He came out and he would like improv stuff, but because his character was like, his character personality was so kind of strong, like in and of himself, and he would turn it up to like 15, 20, like I don't even know how to, you know what it kind of reminds me of? It almost reminds me of, do Jim Carrey. So in the 90s when he would do his stuff, like he was very kind of like cartoonish in his like the way that he worked. And he still works on it and all that lot, but it's because the character of the voice he had on stage was so strong and so clear, maybe it made it easier for him, but it definitely just came across that it was just, you knew when to laugh, you knew what he came out once and did this whole thing about, can you imagine if you were a giraffe being born, and then he like kind of acted it out, and it was just hilarious. It was just really, really funny, and I could never get away with that. Like, I wouldn't know how to tell that. I wouldn't know. I could try and be silly, but it would just be uncomfortable. You know what I mean? Like it was just, but he made it. And you weren't laughing at him. You were laughing with him. Like he was.
He'd taken you on that journey.
Exactly. Right. Like he kind of makes you feel stupid for not following along with what he's saying. Like it's kind of, he was really good. But yeah, Ray as well. It's like he's so kind of calm, chill. He's got that kind of stoner vibe.
Yeah.
But he's not stupid.
No.
So it's just when a voice is clear. I don't think a voice. Sorry, just to go back to what we were talking about. I said I don't think a voice can or should be rushed. It will come to you at the speed it comes to you.
Yeah.
You know, like for Ray's been doing this for absolutely years. Newty was actually fairly new. He's still doing it, but like he was fairly new. It just so happens that he just had such a particular personality that he would just let it shine. He would just be himself and just kind of. There is a story, and I know before this I said that I want to get you talking most of the time.
You're gonna make a point.
I'm gonna make another point. But I got this from Bill Burr where he says, if something funny happens to you in a day, and you're meeting your mates at the bar later, let's say you're gonna go down to the pub and you see something weird, and then you meet your mates at the bar. You don't. When you go to see them, you don't plan out, okay, and then this happened, and then, all right, so what should I say here? I should be like, okay, I should just, all right, and then the guy's voice, was it kind of like this? You don't like over-plan and overthink, you just kind of go like, mate, you'll never guess what I just saw. Like, it was just crazy. It was, and if you're a quote-unquote natural storyteller, you'll just kind of get into it, you'll just kind of lean, and that there is your voice. But something happens when we get on stage where we kind of, some people will get it immediately, where they'll get up and they'll just be themselves, and then they'll start thinking about it, and then they'll overanalyze, lose it almost completely, because now it's become like a whole kind of robotic, and then spend 10 years trying to learn how to do it naturally again. And that's the difference between, well, being able to just do it on cue, that's the thing, is the difference between being funny in person, being funny in on stage, is that the funny in person, that's just kind of someone is just like personality, they're funny, they're like quick and all that lot, but can they do it on cue? Like, can you just go, and then they do it? And if you don't have a voice, then no, you can't do that.
It's very, very hard to do,
Exactly. So it's just like, it'll develop, you'll realise what works well for you. Yeah, some people you just see, and they do just kind of have it. I think having it, the X factor, is actually just, they just come with a voice pre-prepared. Like, you can develop it, like, you can have that, you can make that X factor, but I do think some people really just, like Josh, like Newty, like Natalie, like they just have something about their personality that is just kind of, that just shines. Like you just need to learn how to write a joke.
Yeah, channel it.
Yeah, exactly. You just need to learn how to channel, and then it will be something. You know what you said earlier on about the kind of the confidence as a mask, as a bravado type thing?
Yeah.
So I very much do the same thing, where it's just kind of, if I don't feel confident, you're not going to know.
No, if anything, I'll look more confident in that moment, right?
Exactly.
I'll turn it further up, right?
And that's actually the kind of mistake that I was doing when I was first started, which was I was trying to play this overconfident, cocky, narcissist kind of person on stage, but it just came across as unlikable. It was like, it was, I joke about being good looking, and like, don't get me wrong, I don't think I'm bad looking, but I don't genuinely think I'm the best looking person in the room. But because I'm not obviously a mountain troll, those kind of humour, people would think that I'm just kind of being serious. So it didn't really come across as humorous or funny. It just came across as kind of uncomfortable and cringy, and kind of, you can say the joke once, but if you say it twice, suddenly people are like, no, this is...
Yeah, that's like, then it's weird. So
exactly.
There's the difference between being knowing, which is useful, and then, trying to put on a facade or convince other people, right? Because I think audiences want to leave, feeling like the comedians are the idiots, right? We're shy, and then maybe thinking like, I'm not the only one. That stupid thing he was talking about, I've thought that too. Or actually, so you want to, as an audience member, You want to connect, but also don't want to feel like you're the idiot.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Like, no one's there for a TED Talk. Like, the fall guy's got to be the comedian.
It's like a good science experiment, you know? Like, the participant can never leave in a worse state than they first came in.
Yeah, I mean, I think there are other rules for that as well, yes.
No, that's the only rule for science.
Medical.
I'm pretty sure about this, actually.
I didn't kill them. They're no worse. Then I'm like, yeah, I'm not sure if that's...
He always had one hand.
Yeah, yeah, it was definitely that one. But yeah, so I think there's you've got to be careful of the audience, connecting the audience, and how you use your space and face and what you say and yeah, like one of the very first like stand-up things I did a stand-up show, and this taught me that I had a little bit of banter with this woman in the crowd before my set, who the host and other people had some banter with. She was being a bit difficult. And I had a bit of banter with her. She was British as well, so I know how to banter it. But my entire set after that was predicated on me being likable.
Ah, yeah.
And because that banter, I just wasn't that.
Yeah.
Nothing else worked.
You broke the allure before.
I had fucked myself before I even began.
Yeah.
So there's that. I'm like, that's an important lesson to learn. That was a horrible way to learn it. But that's the hard and like stand up is brutal.
Yeah. But you learned it, and like that will make you better.
Yeah, but so here's my early stand up tip, and I told I told this to an early stand up who's just starting out in the scene. This time, I tell you what I did, is I heard in the course that I did 2 years ago in the summer that you can't really call yourself a stand up until you've done 50 to 100 shows.
Okay.
Right, and I was like, okay, fair enough. I was like, so what I did is I made myself a little chart, 1 to 50, and every time I did a show, I'd cross it off. And what this did, because I didn't want to, like, you get this roller coaster, like, I'm brilliant when people laugh, I'm terrible when, you oscillate. So it just made that every performance that I did, good, bad, or whatever it was progress towards the goal. And I still do it. This is number 78. Yeah. I'm going to do it to 100. But, like, slightly different now, to be honest with you. So now that worked really well.
Yeah.
Now I don't have that, really. So I'm like, the next one is like, now what do I use to help me? Because then I can be like, it's okay to be a bit shit. Like, I'm making progress.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to, you're not your last performance.
Yeah, definitely.
That's the problem, is that you have one good show and suddenly you're amazing and you're like, oh, I'm buzzing, I love this.
You have Millikan's Law.
I mean, that's
yeah.
Right? So it's
For
that.
those of you who don't know, Millikan's Law is by 10 a.m. the next day, it's after Sarah Millikan, by 10 a.m. the next day, no matter how well your show went or how badly it went, you just got to forget it and move on. That's it. Just move on.
That's the thing about like being vulnerable, right? Like you put a lot of yourself, the more you put into it, probably the more successful you're going to be. But again, less of a mask, you have less emotional protection, right? So it's a thing.
Yes, less emotional protection, but then that's also what allows for connection between you and the audience, maybe, you know? Because like by being vulnerable, it's like, you leave yourself literally vulnerable, but that's how you also let people in. And that can be very attractive, you know? Especially to narcissists.
I wouldn't know, I'm not a narcissist.
Yeah, no, neither do I. Continuing on from what we were just saying, very naturally and all that lot. So you say that you had this framework about 0 to 50 and then 50 to 100. Oh, so 50 to 100 was what makes you a real comedian. And I may philosophically argue with the arbitrary numbers about what makes a comedian as being like a mindset and all that kind of stuff. But since you don't have that anymore, because now you're a quote-unquote real comedian, which
78, I'm not quite there yet, but soon enough.
You run a night and...
sure, I don't count the hosting, actually.
You don't count hosting?
No, only spots.
Oh, interesting.
Because I was like, otherwise I'd be well over 100 now. And for me, like, just to put it out there, spots is when you're doing your material. Hosting, you do a blend of your material, some crowd work, and I can lean back on my safety space of improv.
Yeah, exactly.
So my weakest area...
It's a similar but a different skill.
Yeah, my weakest area is written material and forcing myself to do spots. So that's, I'm trying to like find a psychological way. I'm not coming to this podcast with answers. This is the challenge I have.
No, but that's also like kind of the point of this. Yeah. It's like we're going through this in real time, you know?
Yeah.
Because I vibe with it because, especially when I was burning out throughout this year and last, I actually hadn't been doing any spots from about May or June, because that's when it got really bad for me. And the absolutely only time I was ever performing was at the 2 shows that I was running, because I mean I'm still on stage for like an hour at least a week, so it's like it's not like I'm not getting the time in, but the problem is that when you're hosting, again, it is a different skill. It is you can't quite work on material in the same way, because your first concern isn't yourself, it actually is the night. It's you're the conductor, you're making sure that the comedians are set up well and that the audience are having a good time. So there's a lot more, it's different moving parts to kind of take. And I would say that, so I wasn't really like working on my material, but it's not like I stopped being a comedian, because I would argue that being a comedian in and of itself is, again, it's a mindset. It's a way of being. A comedian never retires; they die. It was I can't remember who said that, but it's something I've heard where it's just like, you can stop performing, but you're not a comedian. It's not like you're only a comedian when you're literally standing on stage. It's about being able to observe the world and kind of pluck something from it and then reiterate it to people, and that is a skill, and that is a, it's like it's a craft. It's like that's why I say it's a way of being. Yeah. And so, if you need a new guiding light or like a new North Star, which is literally the same thing now that I say it out loud, so that was a touch redundant. What would be the best? Well, isn't it? Why do you do comedy?
I mean, I think I do comedy. Yeah, I mean, wow, that's a hard question. Like like psychologically, I think some of it's to do with validation, right? Some of it's to do with like the way my family is. In that comedy is very important. We're British, but especially British in the sense that we don't have a huge amount of emotional. The way we dealt with emotional things was through humour usually. Yeah. So that had always the same way. Yeah, and also like through music is how I got a lot through emotion. But so stand up to me was comedy was something I don't know, for as long as I can remember I've wanted to do. And it is vulnerable. I mean we've talked about it a little bit, but the other quote, I can't remember the comedian, so I apologise, but the idea was that it was, do you want to... a good comedian is trying to convince the audience about something they find is funny. Yeah. So it is about yourself, like, rather than trying to think of what will this audience find funny and then be that. Yeah, you don't want to pander to what they're saying, you've got to say what you want to say. And that means that it can be anything. It can be like the Finnish guy you were talking about, right? Like, it works him because it's true to him. It's what he finds funny. So it's that trying to find that authentic voice. Like, what do I find funny? Well, what you were saying earlier on was that whole message that you got. Right, so to take that back, so before you were worried about being a comedian, and then the same question that Jeff asked you is like, well, what kind of comedian do you want to be? Should be the next natural step from there, eh? Because it's like, right, now you are. Now what kind? And so that's going to be, how do you break that down into further steps of like, well, all right, what do you want to test out? What do you want to try? What do you want to try next? Yeah. So it could be like, I want to try doing, one thing that worked for me, it was very much focusing on my literal delivery, in the sense that I try not to like use connective words, and trying to work out what crutches I use on stage. Not literal ones, which I had for a while, but like, I know what you mean. That. What do I use? Because I noticed that for a long time, I actually got away with a lot of bravado. It was, my writing has never been my strongest suit necessarily, because I just find it hard to focus and give it the time that I need. So I would just kind of try and charm my way through a lot of things. And it worked, but you'll stagnate. You can only get so kind of far with that. So it's kind of, I guess the next question really is just, what are your crutches? How do you identify them, and how do we move past and try different? How do you see different sides of yourself? I think it's trying to get in my head the willingness to be a bit shit. Yeah. But that's the hard thing that I'm kind of like doing. And I don't want any kind of like, woe is me. Like comedy, like I've got a club, I'm doing things, but like I'm a very much eat your vegetables first kind of person. So I'm trying to like, what do I find the hardest? Where do I need to like lean into? And I find hardest writing, and then performing that. Knowing that it's gonna be rough. Right? Like, if that was the end of the sentence, my hardest bit with comedy is writing and then performing it. That's but I'm a good host. I like improv games. Like I could have a comedy club, which I do. I could just be in the improv. I could do just hosting. I could just avoid spots for a long time. Like I had the ability to do that, and I could still be in comedy. But if you want to grow, you need to challenge yourself. Exactly. So then it's like you got to force yourself to go down the harder road, or force yourself into those moments or places where you're like, oh, this is going to be rough, but I don't want it to be. And I think you get better, like, over time you're going to get better as a writer, where, you know, you see very, very experienced comedians. We've got very experienced comedians on the scene. They might be trying something new, but they've been doing comedy a long time. So even something that's brand new has a good structure. It's probably okay. They'll want to tighten it up. They might want to change a few things, but then it's tweaks. Whereas the earlier you are, sometimes you're like, that whole bit didn't work. That's not how people see me, or that's not funny.
Yeah. It's just like training, you know. It's like you got to like progressively increase the load, but eventually, as you're saying, you'll be a better comedian. You'll be stronger. So like your bad shows won't be as bad as they used to be.
Exactly.
And like being your own worst critic again, it's just kind of you're gonna. Yeah. So I guess it's just like the progressive overload. How do you make sure that you're doing that at an appropriate rate?
Yeah.
Are you doing your leg days?
Yeah, my crutch is that tick chart, and now that's kind of gone. Like, how am I gonna? I mean, I'll tell you the way I did it is again Jefferson Bond, very good, and they ran a course for 6 weeks called Level Up, where 5 of us joined Jefferson and Jonathan Astor, and we did some classroom sessions. We did a few mics. We got feedback after it. Very, very good. I'm tempted to do it again.
Yeah.
Just the course content, but also the function it had for me is like, right now I'm accountable to someone else. I'm going to go every Tuesday. I have to write new material. He knows my old material. I can't just sneak in my old material. Oh, you thought that was really good, Jeff? The junior's like, no, yeah, that's because it's your old material. So I had to do something new, and you had to get feedback on it. So it kept me going because it kept me held me accountable to somebody else.
To use the exercise analogy again, it's that you've got a personal trainer.
Yeah,
you know,
or at least a gym buddy.
Yeah, exactly.
Minimum, right? Yeah. I think a gym buddy is important because then you're gonna be like, guys, we can't just do bench press. You need to do legs, or whatever it is, right? Like you've got to try the hard thing.
So to kind of summarize, that is one way to deal with feeling like trying to find a new North Star. One way to try and find a new North Star is to see who can help you. See who's around you, what resources are available to help you kind of get to the next level.
I think it's people. I think it's like one of the reasons I opened the club and thinking about that, because it's a very small, mid-sized club, right? It's not going to make a ton of money, even if we're being pretty successful, but it's not ever going to replace my regular job. But it's to try and create a sense of community around stand-up that is present in the improv community, actually. Where we can support each other, help each other. Just give us that, hey, actually, I thought you were really good. Like, I love, like, you were, that pause in the middle, I know you felt that was that's the major thing you took out of this, but you got 3 rounds of applause in that 3 minutes or 5 minutes. Yeah. So, yeah, that bit didn't work, but the rest of it was really good. But you tend to focus in on the negative things. So providing that kind of, like, I think having a support network, especially around stand-up and around that community is really important. So I want to try and create a place for that. That's the kind of idea.
Also,
some of the concept.
The scene has really come together at the moment. I mean, even like a couple of years ago, it's just, I'm so glad that you've got MCC running, because I just think it's going to be such a, it's new, but I see it being just the heart. Like just like a kind of, just this raw, open, wonderful, like little space that is just like, because, you know, I've seen other people run that exact same space, and I've never seen anyone run it as successfully and as well as it's going now.
Oh, man.
I told you I was going to be complimentary.
But I'm British, you know I hate it. I'm incredibly uncomfortable.
You're doing really well. No, I should be proud of yourself. Stop you're doing a great job, and you're not just elevating yourself, you're elevating the whole scene.
Oh, God, this feels horrible.
Yeah.
Say something mean. Say something mean.
I think that your hair is only a 9 out of 10.
Oh, thank God. Now I feel better. There's nothing more awkward for a British person than, like, see how I folded my arms in a protective, like, oh God, he's going to say nice. Oh, I hate it.
Oh my God. So now, your older brother and your father have decided to give you some more direct advice, and we're gonna give some advice to someone who reached out with a problem, and we were talking earlier on, and I realized that I've heard this problem. Tim hasn't heard this problem. So he will be learning this as you do, and we will try and help him, and I just think this is going to be a fun way to help.
Yeah.
We talk about my love life, and the feeling of being lonely and not have somebody to love, and the desperation of getting in what is called a relationship. And by the way, I just woke up.
I do love the way that. So I believe the question there was this man, who is one of my favourite audience members in the world, he wants to know about finding love, finding someone to love, more specifically, I think, and the difficulty of getting into a relationship. And I've got some thoughts about that.
Yeah.
But I'd love to hear your take on that.
Yeah, I mean, that's fuck. I mean, I'm relatively single right now. I live alone, doing comedy, so let's take it. So I can't. So I associate with the.
Bear in mind, he's mid-20s.
He's mid-20s. Okay,
yeah.
That changes that a little bit, but I would put the question back to him in a different way, because I think without really unpacking it, we're going to get into like patriarchy, right? Like the question is, what are you offering the world?
Yeah.
Like, what do you, like, rather than, like, I'm going to search for a human to complete me or something, like, better to be like, what are you offering the world? Like, what would this prospective partner get, right? Like, do you have hobbies? Are you an interesting person? Are you emotionally available? Or do you have any of these things, right? So I would turn the question, rather than seeking, like, turn the question inward a little bit, because I think through that process though, like you start doing hobbies, you start doing things, you're going to end up probably meeting someone.
Yeah.
Whereas I think at least dating today, when you're going in with this preconceived idea of what a human is that would complete me, or that would be an ideal person for a relationship. So I'd want to unpack why do you want a relationship? What are the bits of a relationship? What are you offering?
You know what's interesting is I had a very, very similar thought, but I would say maybe not the opposite, but it was like same process, different conclusion, which is more, it is about turning the question inwards, but it's more, well, what do you really need? In the sense that I've never been a fan of that whole kind of completed by another person.
No.
You know, it's like you've got to, I wholeheartedly believe that you should be a complete person in and of yourself, and then you can share that time with you can share your time with someone else, but not because you need them, because I think that goes in with the wrong mentality, because that I don't want this to sound like just kind of fear of vulnerability or so on and so forth, because I can recognize that humans are social creatures and we are meant to work well together, but that's in groups. It's not one-on-one necessarily. It is you function in a society, but you should still be complete in and of yourself. So it's like you're trying to find a partner. Well, what do you want the partner for? You know, it's like, is it why do you want to be in a relationship? Like, what is it that you think you're going to get out of being in a relationship that you can't already have now? Because I'd say arguably you are already in a relationship, and that is with yourself.
Yeah.
And so what do you love? Like, what are you missing, and what do you need? Like, don't get me wrong, like, it can just be flat out companionship, and maybe if it's just someone to just hang out with, you know, it's that I think that's a completely legitimate answer, but I think you need to be clear on what that answer is.
I think both then. I think I'd do both, but I still think it's like a little bit patriarchal. So that's why I want to flip it, rather than like, what do I need as a man? What do I need in my partner? Which takes away from the idea of I'm going to recognize this human being as an independent human being who I'm going to discover things about, and I'll discover connection, and there may or may not be a connection.
100%.
That kind of moment of discovery. So that's why I like the idea of like, reflect on yourself first. Like, what am I offering? Like I go on a date with someone. Like, am I emotionally, like, what am I offering this person's amazing.
Yeah.
If you have to pretend to be someone you're not.
Exactly. You got to be yourself.
You got to play the game.
Is that person... I mean, obviously, humans have inherent value and all that kind of stuff, but it's kind of like... I heard this, it was on another podcast, I think it was...
there are no other podcasts.
There are no other podcasts that are worth your time. Yeah. I mean, you're here for a reason.
Other podcasts are not available.
Exactly. But there was... Someone said something to the effect of... I was thinking the other day if I'm quiet and introverted, or if I'm actually just boring and don't have that much to say, and I'm quite arrogant about it. So, the idea of someone having the idea that they're like, oh, I'm dark and there's fireworks. That works. Yeah. Either that or like some very flashy bullets.
No, it's fireworks. They're only legal in Denmark for like 4 or 5 days around New Year.
Yeah,
So it's an exciting time for us.
It's actually because I live near a wizard's.
Oh.
Yeah, it's just really annoying. They're just out there sending like curses and Expelliarmus and all this kind of stuff. It's really annoying. The other day they turned our cat into a washing machine, which was great because we only have one, so we could get a lot done. But then she turned back to a cat. She coughed up a sock. Anyway,
everything really close, not a butthole.
Yeah, you know, and but she smelled quite nice from the
like the irony.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And yeah, so what were we talking about? It was.
Reflect on yourself or reflect?
Yeah, I guess that's it. Really is like, what do you really want? What are you really offering? There'd be two ways to look at it, you know. So,
I like flipping it to the what are you offering, just because it's not the way that men think.
So to play a little bit devil's advocate, could this also just be still commodification? You're still, instead of objectifying them, you're objectifying yourself. And it's just kind of, could one argue then maybe that just don't commodify either. You know, it's not what do you offer, what do they have. It's like, who are you and who are they? And be like, well, what's
being
going
honest
on
with, I mean, I like, and again, anecdotal, right? Like an ex-partner's brother or whatever. But I think with young men, there's a certain amount of like, you put on this facade of what society tells you that you want a man to be, right? And then you do it, and then like maybe that works in this very start of a relationship, but then after a while you can't maintain pretending to be someone you're not.
Yeah, no,
for very long.
No, unless you're a genuine psychopath.
I mean, like just so like you can't like, and then people are unhappy. Like, oh, I'm doing all the things, but they're not happy. Right, I'm doing all the things I'm supposed to do, rather than right, find the person or people that you. When you're yourself, and obviously we're all at our best version of ourselves on date one, right? But like that's what dating is for. But I think try and get that. Yeah. What are you getting? What are you offering? And being willing to walk away. Like there's a definite like the male dating side. There's a scarcity mindset, which also people are willing to fold themselves into all sorts of shapes
to get whatever you can.
To get like, oh well, I've only had one date in the last 2 months. This one has to work out.
Yeah.
I'll be anyone, so this works out. So you're trying to read the other person. What do they want?
Rather and you're like playing games back and forth where you're trying to figure things out. It's just be completely honest.
If 20 hours of your week is spent playing this computer game, right, and that's not going to change, or you really love it, but great. You probably need to be searching for someone who also loves that computer game. That might be a harder person to find. But it's no good pretending that you do.
But that's also why it's like what you said earlier on, I think is a great idea. It's like kind of do the things that you want to do, because then you'll meet people that share the same kind of interest. Like don't start a pottery class because you're like, you think there'll be women as part of this pottery thing. Yeah. Or there was a trend for a while where guys were joining running clubs because there were a lot of women in the running clubs. And it's just like, yeah, but now you got to run.
Yeah, now you got to run, dude. Like, that sucks. Running is the worst thing in the world.
And also, it's the worst. The issue is that while you're out there trying to fill, while you're out there trying to fill every hole that you can, you're missing the fact that the hole you really need to fill is in yourself.
Yeah, in your heart.
It is.
It is. Like,
exactly.
Sponsored by Disney.
Sponsored by Disney. I
mean, this is slightly off Christian's thing, but it kind of does a little bit. Like, I think the most powerful tool in one's relationship toolbox is honesty and authenticity.
For me, it's a gun, but yeah, I
think yourself, okay, yeah.
Yeah, no, yeah. Honestly, honesty, authenticity. One of the things that I love the most about my partner now is just peaceful. Like I've got no bad things to say about my exes except for the fact that they broke my heart, and but like they were wonderful people, but it was a lot. It was just a lot. I'm a lot as a person, which I've only really come to realise recently. And being with someone who is just kind of chill and honest and just like easy to talk to.
Yeah.
I realised that was, I was in a very kind of whorish stage, and not that I think being a whore is a bad thing in any way, shape or form, but I think what just kind of why we ended up into a long lasting relationship was because it's just easy to be around, you know. So it's just, and that comes from just being able to be yourself, being able to be just relaxed. And when you're constantly putting on a facade, trying to live up to a standard or trying to be something, you're not relaxed. That's uncomfortable.
Yeah, if you're willing to let a relationship, if you like, fail, but do it in an honest, like, you're honestly saying, all right, like, let's see if this works. And being willing to walk away and know, like, it's not because you're a bad person, it's not because I'm a bad person. We're just different in this way, it's not working out, we want different things here and there. Better to have those honest conversations very early than much later.
Someone said this before, who pointed it out, but it's like that. I think the show's called either dating, Love on the Spectrum, or Undateables. I can't remember which show it was, but basically there was two autistic people on a high level of functioning, not high functioning, but a high level of autism, but still functioning. And they sat down to have dinner with each other, and the guy asked the girl, was like, do you like trains? And she was like, no. And he was like, all right, cool, I'm gone. And that was it. Like, it was just... He was
I fucking love trains, man.
Yeah, it's like, I love trains, man. If you don't like trains, this isn't going to work. And that was just... He had very, very clear boundaries. He very, very kind of clear... And I think that's also why...
And importantly about boundaries, he enforced it on himself, not somebody else, which is what a boundary really is. Exactly. Like, he was like, I own this boundary, and I'm going to walk away.
And I think that's also why it's good to have, dating becomes harder as you get older, but I think that's also because you go through more relationships, you realise what you are and aren't willing to put up with. You know, so it's just like when you're younger, you think you can be with anyone, and maybe on some level you can be, but it's just kind of, you realise what you do want to do and what you don't want to do, and as you get older, that becomes a bit more specific, and then it's just like,
or worse, you think through the force of your wonderful personality you can change them.
You're never going to change anyone. You're never going to change. People will change, people can change, but they will not do it on a schedule.
Not on a schedule, or because of you at all. Exactly. If anything, I mean, I didn't, I was, in fairness to a lot of my previous long-term relationships going back over time, I was a lot to deal with. Like, most of them, they're totally my fault. Lots of unresolved trauma, had not done the work. Jesus, like, I was definitely the problem, for sure.
So I think that really solidifies what the advice is, Christian, is just work out if you are the problem first. See what you're offering. Maybe what you're offering is a few months, a few years, maybe a lifetime of misery. And if that is the case, maybe change that first. And then also ask yourself, what do you really need?
I think have a self-awareness. And then if you have a self-awareness and understand, then you will be emotionally available.
Exactly.
That's what you want to do that. That's my advice.
There we go.
How good it is.
That's the advice. If you have any pieces of advice that you need on dating, relationships, creative world, this, that, and the other, please write in to irisylvestergb@gmail.com, or you can send me a message on Instagram. You can try Messenger. I'll tell you this, I've got raging ADHD, as I've mentioned many times before.
Don't do it on Messenger, he won't message you back.
I don't check things. I have to turn off notifications, because otherwise I just get obsessed. Send me an email. I might set up an email for this thing eventually, but it'll be in the description. Wherever you're consuming this, there will be a way to contact me, so do that. Beyond that, I think... final thing really is I like to end these with let's land this plane, so to speak. I like to end these with a book, podcast, or kind of media suggestion. It can be related to what we've been talking about. It can just be something that you just really enjoy and that you want to suggest to other people that you think they'll get something out of.
Oh fuck, that's really hard. Okay, so I'm gonna go and recommend something that is it's related to Christian's question, I think. It's a podcast called Multi-Amory.
Oh, I've checked that out.
It's just very, very good. There's tons and tons there. So the podcast itself is about polyamorous relationships, ethically non-monogamous relationships. So that's the kind of like concept. But each episode basically starts with 20-30 minutes of just good stuff for everyone about communication, about all these things. And then after a little break, they do a 15 minutes-ish about, okay, how does this work in polyamorous relationships? So I think anyone who's looking for relationships, and I think there are 500 episodes now. There's a very, very big podcast. They're well labelled. You can go through and have a look. And I would suggest anyone who's interested in bettering themselves or thinking about relationships.
That's the thing, though. So you don't have to be in a polyamorous relationship to learn a lot from these kinds of things, because a lot of it is basically about like kind of open, honest communication and how do you check in with yourself and where are things actually coming from, which is just beneficial.
Everyone's going to learn from that. 100%. And then if you want to add another layer of a third person into your relationships, then multiplies the communication and honesty you need. So they're coming from a very good place. I like that. I like that podcast. I think it's very dip-inable, so you can go and check out different things.
Yeah, well, thank you very much, Tim. If you've made it this far, thank you very much. You're an awesome person. You should feel proud of yourself. I hope you learned something. If you have any issues or qualms or you need advice about something, please write in. Wherever you're consuming this, please like, follow, subscribe, leave a comment, share it with a friend. Do whatever you need to do to let the algorithm know that we exist. Because we all pray to the Lord's algorithm to have us within their favour, and it's with your prayers and blessings as well that you can make that happen. So, thank you very much. Cheers, Tim.
Cheers.
Peace and love.